Welcome. Creative Universe Checkpoint Earth presents Twin Flames Inside the Womb. Union News. Why everyone is wrong about twin flames. Well, that's kind of a title, right? That's a whole bunch of a title. So, yeah, we're going to unpack that a little bit today. Is that true? Is everyone wrong about twin flames? And where does that come from? And how come might that be so? I collected 5, I think, points that we're going to talk about. Yeah, 5 points. So I hope it'll enlighten you today a little bit. And I hope that it just brings some clarity about how to think about this matter in general. And specifically too. So that this new understanding works in your favor so that you can reach the twin flame union that it's all about, which is very much possible. I'll tell you that much. The real twin flame work happens on the inside, and then it will guaranteed manifest outside. In this series of lives, I share about what that means for my union consciousness process to inspire you to find yours. It serves as a source for your daily twin flame news. Today on the show, we have why everyone is wrong about twin flames. So I already gave a little bit of a spiel there, and we'll get there soon enough. 5 points, and we'll discuss it. Let me know in the chat where you are watching from. Add a heart in the comment field for desiring union and a flame for calling in the consciousness state of harmonious union. So put all your flames in the comments because it will help you. Twin flame union consciousness wisdom of the day. For sustainable twin flame success, you need to reach and maintain union consciousness. Touching the high vibration is the least of your concern in this. Correction in your concrete life is where it's at. Well, what a union consciousness wisdom for twin flames. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. That's the whole teaching. In one sentence. In 2 parts. Yeah, sort of one sentence. This is the whole point. This is the whole thing. You want to go to harmonious union, the consciousness state. And when you're there, you know that problem that you're currently having, like they've walked away. They threw me off of the text app that we were using. They blocked me on Instagram. They don't seem to be wanting to have a real relationship with me. They're living incredibly far away. They already have a family. They have someone else. They're already married. They have a form of sexuality that I don't care for, that I don't feel included in. All these and many more problems that you have found yourself with in the journey right now, in separation, how they say that's what they say then, which is true. But that separation also points to separation consciousness. That's what that means. So all these situations are in some sort of way in consciousness. This problem is a problem in consciousness, but you see it on the outside. You see it on Facebook, you see it on Instagram, you see it because you don't see their physical face in front of you, because you can't touch their body right now. I understand, I'm not stupid. But the whole physical reality of the ego and the personality and the body and the world is prefigured by consciousness. And consciousness is actually like the basic foundational material in this matter, not the ego, personality, and the world and the body. So that's the layer where you should go back to. Go back to the consciousness layer and repair it there. And then that whole experience in the dream, in the world, where we want to have that beautiful, loving dinner and being asked to marry and then say yes and all these things, they will come from a repaired consciousness layer. So that's where you start. That's where you start, and that's where you end. And that will make everything completely and utterly different. But it's so interesting that the twin flame consciousness wisdom of today indeed says, like, that does mean that you bring yourself in that consciousness to a high vibration, like a hugely high vibration. That's where twin flames live. It's very high vibration. And you bring yourself there. And that's possible when you step into the work with me behind the YouTube scene, right? Actually step into it in our relationship by going into the options that I give for you to do that. Then that can easily be transferred to you because this vibration just wants to share itself with the people that join. And that sort of starts to happen and more, and then you're really in it. And that's sort of something that just really like happens automatically almost by being in that relationship. That's what that means. By doing more and more things in that relationship and enjoying it. And there's a lot to do when you would want that. Just reach out to me and we'll figure out how you can start soon enough. So you'll be sort of drenched into this vibration, and that can happen for you soonish, for sure. And you'll be on the high vibration of union, which is the union that you will have with the source inside of yourself, which is like the highest vibration possible. But and the following is like really something that I experienced. These are not ideas that I have. This is just what I experienced, what I've seen others experience, what God tells me, what Divine Mother has channeled to me, through me, to you, what I've experienced with students, what I have seen them transform into, according to what kind of teachings that I gave them. And then there were certain outcomes, and I learned also from all these experiences, like, oh, this is what happens then, and oh, that's what happens then with them. And that was all beautiful and educational, and that has taken years. And the beauty is that we have all that now, and it's over complete, and more, so much more than proven than you can ever imagine that it 1000% works. Okay, so that's where we're now at, the development of rolling this out towards you so that you can join. On a journey, I have seen that getting in that super high vibration is really not necessarily the problem. The problem comes more because that needs to be anchored into you. You need to ground into that reality. And that's where the problem lies. And that needs to come together, and it does come together the moment you get into that consciousness state. It's a high vibration, and then you need to ground that immediately in our relationship, often first, and then, like in your own reality and everything at the same time, actually, but you know, so you need to sort of learn the lesson, right? And that's often like a physical, psychological, mentality, emotional lesson that belongs to that moment of the highest vibration. And that seems to be more of, well, what's needed and what people find difficult or they don't want to do. They want to step into everything and get everything cleared out and cleared up and step into the, yeah, like the knowing everything there's to know for themselves about it and go to the utmost um, clarity about that and be in the high vibration of it. But then comes the grounding and then comes the resistance. And that's what people find difficult, is what I have seen. So that's all the more reason why you do need guidance, actually, to move through these moments correctly. So that's why it says that the high vibration is the least of your concern. Correction in your concrete life is where it's at. But you can do it. I know you can. If I could do it, you could do it also, right? Yeah, very wise. The ACIM lesson of today is lesson 69. And is that correct? Yeah, that was correct. And that is A Course in Miracles, which is a book. This is how it looks. And it holds the consciousness teachings of the Christ Masters. And I work together with them because I met with and co-create with. I met with them in the flesh, and I co-create with them right now in spirit. That harmonious union consciousness thing that we just discussed, because that's what's new in the world, and that can like include you as well. It's a gift, and yeah, you can have it too. So this book holds a whole course that is pointed out by these Christ masters, that is actually the underlying consciousness method that they stand for, and that all Christ masters have stood for throughout eternity. Very interesting. So this is not my main method, but I do use it because I think it's a very good opportunity to bring clarity in many aspects. And today's lesson is, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. No one can look upon what your grievances conceal. Because your grievances are hiding the light of the world in you, everyone stands in darkness, and you beside them. But as the veil of your grievances is lifted, you are released with him. Share your salvation now with him who stood beside you when you were in hell. He is your brother in the light of the world that saves you both. Today, let's make another real attempt to reach the light in you. Before we undertake this in our more extended practice period, let us devote several minutes to thinking about what we are trying to do. We are literally attempting to get in touch with the salvation of the world. We are trying to see past the veil of darkness that keeps it concealed. We are trying to let the veil be lifted and to see the tears of God's Son disappear in the sunlight. My grievances hide the light in the world in me. My grievances hide the light of the world in me. Yeah, that held a whole bunch of like heavy words, or what people potentially could experience as heavy words, such as hell, God's son, and so on. Now, hell is just like heaven, a state of consciousness, right? And we're moving towards being in heaven with the true twin flame. And that's exactly how that works, to arrive there. And you will arrive there when you walk this path. It is indeed beautiful. So don't be mistaken about that. It says the tears of God's son. Well, God's son, that's also God's daughter. That's just the truth of what you are. You're not a body. You're free, says ACIM. You're a free soul. And that soul is actually connected to everyone's soul all at once. And in the even deeper truth, it is the case, says ACIM, there's only one spirit that we all are. And that is God's son. That's another word for that. So you have like the source and like this beautiful soul cloud that is all of us. That's the Son of God. And you are that, but you've forgotten that you are that. So this is God's son, and the tears of him disappear in the sunlight. That's the idea. But we have this veil over it with all our grievances. You want to go to that experience of being in the sun and have your tears be wiped. But the reality is that we have all these grievances. Excuse me. My grievances needed to be sneezed out, I guess. So God knows that, or in a sense, ACM says does not know, but we need to look into the eyes that we have all these grievances to let them go. And then we can let ourselves experience that true light that is behind that veil of grievances. And the grievances are always about the other person, about relationship, right? They did this. My twin flame walked away. They called me names. They're not wanting to be in a relationship with me. So these are the grievances, and these complaints, they stand between you and the big light that you actually are. So all these grievances that you say about your twin flame, they did it, and they walked away, and they don't see me correctly, and they need to be more loving. They shouldn't have blocked me on Facebook. These are all the grievances, and you need to confront yourself with them so that they can fall away. And that veil can be lifted. And the truth can be revealed to you about your everlasting twin flame relationship that is always here and always good and always true and always loving and always has the next step for you. You're just lost in the grievances. And you want to believe in the grievances. You're attached to the grievances instead of the true reality of that you are that light that cannot be dimmed, and that is 100% true and in union. You see, and if you connect to that reality, then everything starts to flow again and will be made come true. So that's the point. That's how it works, right? And ACIM is, sometimes it sounds like, but are they talking about twin flames? Well, they are talking about union consciousness, and that's what twin flames are about. And these grievances are what you say about your twin flame. So it 100% applies. And Yeah, it says, share your salvation now with him who stood beside you when you were in hell. So that is actually for anyone, but particularly also with your twin flame, right? So that's another big word. Like the salvation just means that you have repaired the relationship with your source fully in your mind, in your divine mind. That's how ACIM talks about it. And then when you have done that, when you have gone there, you've let go of the grievances and you have gone to that salvation place. You can now share it with the one that stands next to you, with your twin flame, who it perpetually stands next to you out of sheer design, right? In consciousness, at least. So, or it says, who stood beside you when you were in hell. Okay, okay. He is your brother in the light of the world that saves you both. Right, right. Brother can also be sister. It's just a general remark, general pointer. Yeah. First, you stand with your twin flame next to each other in hell and you complain about each other. And when you do the inner work for consciousness, then he is your brother in the light of the world that saves you both and you're in salvation. The goal of salvation has come to you. That's where you want to go. May sound for some a little bit like a religious idea, but there are a lot of religious ideas in ACIM because that is just a good way to technically point out some things that otherwise cannot be pointed out, or that would be very hard. So it serves a function. So that's where, in other words, you will be in union with your twin flame. And the only thing that's needed is to let go of your grievances. Now that's easy, right? So there's your homework. The lesson has more paragraphs and you can read them all when you go to the source, and that is the link, and that will be published just like everything that we discussed today on my Patreon, and you can support me and you can also get influence on the content and you get huge deals that are available nowhere else, and you get the show notes with all the sources and text, etc. And yeah, probably I will do more things on Patreon. So yeah, join me on Patreon. The link is below, or it is PEJ at Creative Universe. And before that, of course, you put patreon.com/. Okay. We got also a segment out of my own book because ACM is from the Christ Masters, but I have my own book. See, I co-create with them. It's like they stand there, I stand there, and we just hold hands there. And that's how I'm able to bring you Harmonious Twin Flame Union, because that's what we do all the time in the like hidden world behind the scenes. And my book, I have a paper book out since 9 months approximately, something like that. And that is called Twin Flames, Manifesting Your Abundant Life of Love. And there are actually 3 books in it. Book consisting of 3 books. And when you come to be my student, that is a book that you really need to have. So there you go. And in the sub book, the Emerald Itinerary inside of it, we have a segment that it came out in when I opened the book, and there was the segment. It has 12 points that are beneficial for you to yeah, know and live and learn on your way to twin flame union. And this is the last one. 12. Receive. Reap what you sow autonomously because you fulfilled it yourself. Yet connected with us because you cannot come to fruition without a new social aspect on the harmonious union level. And start co creating with our harmonious union pairs community in your mission to sustain and grow what you have in the heart so that you continue walking the path towards perfection. End quote. So yeah, the the journey doesn't even end with harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, and then you are invited to work that out in the physical, the material world, and you stay close, to the community and the teacher and everything to start to work that out, and then you start to become more active in your twin flame mission, and then many things can be start to be built. And you start to, in another way, go deeper in consciousness. It's just like another piece of the work, in a sense. And that leads towards perfection. There you go. I also call that gold consciousness. But yeah, what is important for you on the journey to know and do and practice? Receive. That's what this whole point is about. Receive. You can reap what you sow because you fulfilled it yourself. Well, that's when you've done all the work and you integrated all the former ideas, right? And then you can reap what you've sowed. But this is the whole point, because this receiving is really not so easy for many people. It's really not so common. It's really something that people stumble on. So, can you receive? And maybe you should ask yourself that question, on multiple layers. Like, can you receive in the world, in the body, in the physicality, in the ego, in the personality, in the psychological world? That's one. Can you receive there? When someone pays you a compliment, do you receive it, or do you try to walk away from that one? When money starts to be flowing to you, which is also something that will happen on the twin flame journey for you, can you receive that, or do you try to avert it? When luscious lessons come to you that, when they're learned, will make your life so much more rich, can you learn them? Or do you try to move around them, which will never work, but there you go. Can you receive? And then think about this one. Actually, because it is about twin flame union, we always talk about your core. Where's your source of the both of you? Where you're one in the invisible world of spirit. That's where you need to repair the relationship. And actually, only, the world and the flesh and the money that's all just a secondary thing. But that inner world is the first thing. So you can ask yourself the question, do you receive there? Are you receiving the love of Source, the love of the divine? Are you receiving the healing that the divine wants to bestow onto you? Are you receiving what the teacher has to say? Are you receiving the working of the twin flame inner work tools that we have, that were provided by Divine Mother? Do you trust them? Do you trust the results that come from it? And then to ask yourself, oh, but maybe these two things are actually intimately connected. You can't have the money that is connected to your true twin flame union life when you're not connected in the inner world to the divine and have repaired that relationship there and have received that healing there. But also the other way around. When you're not able to receive money, for instance, or lessons, or I don't know, good feelings, you know that there's something going on in the relationship with Source. Actually, this is one. There's one question of can I receive? And these two phases of life, areas of life, they need to become one in the question of receiving. Yeah. So that it says indeed that so that it can come to fruition. Without, oh, what does it say? It could connect it with us because you cannot come to fruition without the new social aspect on the harmonious union level. Right. And you do answer all these questions within the arms of the community, within the relationship with the teacher, because that is what will eventually sort of tickle you so that you get the answers, so that you understand, so that you see, so that you start to receive instead of thinking that you have it, but you're actually still not receiving, you know? So you need to have that touchstone, which is the social world in a sense, but then the social world that is connected to coming into union. We'll also get an oracle of today from the union and mission cards. So, Divine Mother, yeah, can you help us? But here we are. Can you help us get a card? And there it was. Because experienced value is worth it to get the turning point to go to acknowledged value. Acknowledger affirmer, Y, C, 3.1. Well, here is the money is the coin. You see the one. So this is the money series, which is also the energy series, which is just the value series, which is just the receiving series of cards in this deck that I created, that you will be able to buy soon. Let's look in the booklet. The gold is being born, is the title. When you feel what your soul says, you get the sense of that it is eternal. It is timeless and always continues at the background of things, whether you are before, in the middle, or afterlife. It is the value of your spiritual heart, which physically is the backside of your heart, your upper back. This is a value that is still very much uncommon in people. It is customary to keep that area closed. When you dare to let a spark of light in there, you will see that you become more present, also in your belly. You feel more at ease with yourself, and that will then portray more outwardly as well. You feel worthy to exist as a human being because you are from divine heritage, because the universal light will always support you. Yes, you are worthy. Not as a cheap slogan, but as a lived through reality. Take the time to sit with that truth. Feel how much this is true for you. Everything that has become true, you pass on to others. You can only take others to the phase you are in. Feeling through where you stand yourself is thus a great way to check in with your value. That, when you are honest, gives information about what you can give to your twin flame and your union friends, and also what you cannot pass on yet. Everyone feels the level of honesty eventually in you, so it also does not make sense to be dishonest. In the simplicity of honesty, you will find love that connects all. You love reality, and therefore you can experience the value in its sobered up state. That recognition is a sobering that is heard by the sensitive listener. That means an intense enrichment of union. The more precise you accept what is, the more gold will emerge. And you are worthy. So it really seems to be also about the receiving. And did you know that at this moment we really live in a time where we dance together towards May the 1st on 2025? Because then I will actually present to you the group course and it will open and you can participate. That makes it possible for you to step into this world of receiving union consciousness so that you receive your twin flame union, your mission, your abundance, everything that belongs to you in that identity. And when that starts on May the 1st, actually, we just start with a lot of festivities that everyone can play a part in, can take part in. No matter if you actually want to step into the group course or not, anyone can take part in these festivities because of the launch. Well, we're walking together towards that. And actually, we're dancing because why not, right? So make a note in your schedule. And yeah, um, I'm looking forward to that so much and to meet you there as well. So, and that means that we're now officially at the topic of today. And that is why everyone is wrong about twin flames. Because, yeah, maybe they are. Almost all, but not completely all, almost all other places on the internet and on YouTube that you see videos of, they can't give you this harmonious union consciousness, which means that they can't give you the true thing because they don't have it. And that's very disappointing because you want to believe that. You like these people even. So that is very sad. I do not say that lightly. This has come after 2 decades of looking around and fully going through all the inner developments and then slowly coming to the conclusion, very, very slowly, that this is actually what it is like. It's hugely disappointing and very painful. And many people will, as I said, have beautiful websites, be kind people, come across as kind people, and even be able to help you a little bit in some regards. But it's not the thing. And what is wrong here? How is it possible? Well, I just thought about that. And this is number one. Their assumptions are guesses that sometimes coincide with the truth by accident. And I really don't want to be harsh, but that's the truth of the matter. So there's really a problem going on here because, well, very many people have heard of the idea of twin flames. And things are published about it, and you can like say, oh, that sounds a little bit okay. Very many people have certain experiences themselves that are somehow connected to that deeper love. That's true. Fleeting experiences. But when they then go online and say, I have the answers and here they are, they're actually guesses. They're not, because they've lived through it and they have the result and they channeled the information and they have seen the result in their students. They're just guesses. And yes, some things of widespread information about twin flames online is sort of kind of coinciding with the truth. Well, that's not so difficult to sort of kind of make that coincide with the truth by accident. But that's something different than being in harmonious twin flame union and being able to therefore distill what you go through and listen, inner listening to the divine itself that tells you what it is firsthand, so that you're not guessing and it does not by accident coincide with the truth. Now, I'm actually not even a hardline person. Actually, I stand for a very like experiential feeling experience of how to get to union and how to stay in it and be in it and live in it, etc. But I have that on the basis of that truth that is actually hardline. I'm just not really that kind of person that is completely and utterly expressing herself only as logic and like like logic and always the same word with exact the same meaning. I am a person that more speaks from experiences and stories. But what I stand for is the lived through and channeled and known because I am there firsthand reality. And they're not guesses. So the second reason why everyone is wrong about twin flames is they don't have the consciousness state of harmonious union. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what we, I think, already sort of landed on, right? So to really have it, you need to have the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And that's a very precise happening. Actually, that's the only happening that I can see and know with you, together with you, and you will know it too, and you will feel it too. Feel it, know it. The only moment in your entire journey in which it is absolutely precise. To the second, we know this is when it starts. You are there now. What do you feel, experience, and know now that was different the moment before? Oh, now we can together see that this is actually the true twin flame. And maybe someone else falls away at that very moment. Or maybe not, but we can clarify definitively that this is the true twin flame. And there's nothing more precise than this harmonious union moment that we experience together, because that's what that is. I'm not kidding you. And that is the foundation for building that life with them, for that loving relationship, for the family that you want to have with them and build with them, for the mission business that you can erect and work in together. All of that. That is very precise and very concrete. You will experience it when you are there. So you also cannot miss it. So if people don't talk about that and they talk about twin flames and whatnot, yeah, because they don't have it. They are very much maybe in the physical world, in the material world, in the psychology, in trying to make that better and trying to make it work with the person they think is their twin flame. And sometimes they have nice experiences and relatively good results. But they're not in the consciousness state of harmonious union. It is very precise. And it cannot be missed. If you're there because you have genuinely arrived in the twin flame journey, you know that you are there. You know that something changed in your consciousness. That is very tangible for you. You know when that happened. It cannot be missed. So if people missed that, or don't talk about it, because they don't have it. And yeah, that is, that is the gift that will give you the clarity and the joy and the true twin flame, and will clarify everything for you forever after. And it's really a very solid ground to build on. And if you don't have that, then many things can be going on. They can walk away anytime. You can walk away anytime. You're not sure if it's actually your true twin flame. It is not in the joy that it's supposed to be about. You will have all kinds of psychological problems that you don't know how to solve because you're not in that deeper consciousness state. Not that when you get into harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, that everything will be, all your problems are gone in a second. That's not the case. But your deeper connection is restored, through which you have everything. And then you start to roll that out. You start to work that out. Right? That's when that starts. So they don't have the consciousness state. And therefore, they're wrong about twin flames. They must be at least some sort of wrong in some sort of perspectives, because they're in this consciousness state of some sort of, instead of in the full clarity of harmonious union, where nothing is some sort of this, a little bit of that. I'm not sure of the other thing. No, that's not true there. That's just not what that is. You're very clear there. And you know when it has happened. So they're wrong about twin flames because they don't have the consciousness state and they don't really know what they're talking about as a result. Even though, back to point one, it can sometimes coincide a little bit with the truth. All right, point number 3. It is only based on meeting them fleetingly, not sustainably, while that is what everyone wants. Yeah, because when you're not in a state of harmonious union, but you are, on YouTube talking about twin flames or something, then, or coaching and whatnot, it can very well be that that is partly or completely based on something that has truly happened to them with a true twin flame. That may have been a fleeting experience, or that true feeling that came into their heart, that true connection that they felt in their heart. But it's not the sustainable relationship. It's not the sustainable peace of staying, of grounding, of building, of trust, of faith, of the opening of the door towards your complete abundance, of energy and health and wealth and money and life and resources and social activities. That doesn't open there. So it's not sustainable. It's not the full thing. It's fleetingly. So they could have fleeting experiences that have been true. And even when I would present with like a person next to them in the video frame, and maybe if that person would even be the true twin flame, then still the relationship between them is actually a fleeting relationship because it has not been sustainably set into the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And therefore, it can actually not open that door to your abundance. It cannot give you the surety of the true twin flame fully because you haven't opened that knowledge truly, even when it is them. But you have the inner experience of that assurance is not there. That's something different. The inner joy and peace is not there. Although maybe they could have temporarily a pretty good relationship in a psychological sense. But there is something missing. And that is still this thing that we talk about today, why everyone is wrong about twin flames. 4, because they are not approaching it with the inner viewpoint that can actually see. Well, yeah, that's like another way of saying the same, right? Because they're not approaching it with the inner viewpoint, they might be very busy with the outer viewpoint. So, like your body and their body walking around in your life, and the fact that you want to have a love relationship with them. So, you want to have them in your daily life reality. You want to have dates with them. You want to have kisses with them. You want to have an official relationship. You want to be asked to marry and say yes. You want to work towards the marriage. You want to build this home together, buy a house together. And you're very busy with the problems of the psychology that you encounter. And you find them probably very problematic. And you really go into that, maybe with a lot of psychology, and to figure out what it all is called and how they are to blame for that they don't love you enough and whatnot, because they have all these psychological things that you can explain. And that is all like the outer perspective. I'm just trying to explain what the outer perspective is. And then you don't have the inner viewpoint yet. The inner viewpoint is the point in the heart of your union, in the invisible background of where your union is related back to the divine, and where there is like the blueprint of your design, and where you can like sort of withdraw in that viewpoint and then see that there are no problems. Then you will see that there's only light. Then you will see that that is what carries you and makes it eternal and sustainable. Then you see that any psychological issue is a temporary block. Then you see what your role is in that, and you are able to resolve that fully and completely. It is an inner viewpoint that can actually see. That is where it's at. And that is the only true thing and true valuable perspective that you can have on it. And then you can still see the things that you want to build and that don't go right. And you're not blind, you're not stupid, but you see from a very different vantage point. And that changes everything, because where you see from discerns what you see. If you see from the ego, then you will be sure that you see, well, problems and impossibilities and interpersonal wars and interpersonal goals and money goals, interpersonal goals and money goals that are related to what you think to be in your ego, which is not what you truly are. So they will also be made undone again in the holistic whole of your true journey, because it's not sustainable when it's not based on the truth of your being. You might feel like you have healed your psychology from having been emotionally, well, abandoned as a child, for instance. And you feel like you've healed that. But you haven't healed it from the perspective of standing in the inner union perspective and heal what is there to be healed from there. And when you feel like you have healed your abandonment issues from early childhood, and you would then arrive in that deeper layer of where twin flames truly live and where the inner work for twin flames truly is done in the inner seeing, yeah, then you may see that you actually need to do that work over, but then within that union perspective. And then you will feel truly healed. And it's the same with money. If you walk after your money goal in the ego personality world and you don't have the inner seeing, the inner perspective, then you might reach your goal. Good for you. I'm happy for you. But in the bigger holistic whole of your entire true twin flame journey, you might lose that money when you go to the true inner point of where union is needing to be seen in harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state. And then you might see, oh, I lost it now. I need to go back to that level of abundance in this place, seen from this avenue. And that's also why I always advise for you to come do everything in these areas from the twin flame inner work out and not deviate from that. So, step into the world of coaching behind the screen and make everything all right there with the twin flame inner work that I provide, so that you step over that mistake that you might throw away resources and time trying to make yourself more perfect so that your twin flame union works better. And that might just be not the case. It might just not work out because you need to go to the place where you can see from the union out what is the money goal and how it needs to be achieved, and what is the psychological health you actually are desiring and how that needs to be built. And that's when it becomes sustainable. So 5, because they present you with their twin flame, quote unquote, and it is not true. So they are liars and thieves of your attention for it too. All right, so why everyone is wrong about twin flames? Because 5, they present you with their twin flame, and it is not true. So they're liars and thieves. Liars because it is not their twin flame most of the time, or not in harmonious union, or both. And that's just so sad, because maybe they are genuinely kind, but then at the same time, that's not kind. Maybe they even lie to themselves. like they genuinely believe in their lie. In other words, they don't know any better. But they are a thief of your attention for this lie. And that is intensely sad. Yeah. It's like a delusion, I guess, right? It's like being in a delusion. It's like being in a dream of your own making instead of the divine dream that we all share in, that is actually the Son of God, to go back to that word of ACIM. Yeah. And these delusions can seem very real to the person themselves and to you as the viewer as well. Maybe they are truly happy illusions, but they don't unlock that secret chamber that holds all the gold of your consciousness, that will give you true and lasting soul connected joy, happiness, and even pleasure, it can be called, which is what you truly long for if you listen to your soul. I choose now to explore the most complete depth of my being. I surrender my mind completely to God, that He may bring it into perfect harmony with His. I invite God now into my very core, that He may make it right, returning it perfectly to its state of eternal wholeness. I trust in the power of divine love. I choose to see the truth that it is universally accepted by all. At the core of every child of God, including me, we are all one with our twin flames and God. It is safe for me to open completely to love now. My love is not elusive unless you command it so. But don't worry, you could not choose against love itself, because you are love itself manifest as you eternally. If you command it to leave, love does not leave, because it cannot possibly leave. But you leave love by the power of your command. And by that same power, you can command yourself to return to love. And it is so revealing to you that love never left. It is safe to let go. It is safe to relax into love's eternal presence. Love is calling you home, and I'll be there waiting. I have always been there with you, and I always will be. Your next step. Don't forget to actually step into the process and jump on the team. Actively come to our community, start doing the correct inner work, and ask the support you deserve through our services, so that we can start a relationship that will lead you to harmonious union and beyond. When you're not in a relationship, you're not on the team, and you can't expect the results I am speaking of and in fact guaranteeing. Currently, you are cordially invited to step into the group year course experience. This is the Twin Flame Mystery School you have been waiting for. I'm looking for 9 people to step into this abundant opportunity. Your Twin Flame Abundance now opens its doors on May the 1st. Start giving so that you can receive. The door closes as soon as I have my 9 people that will be successful in their journey. But first, we dance towards the opening of the door together. Join the launch of the Twin Flame Year Group Course of Your Dreams. And the link is below of the launch page, with a lot of fun things such as a Twin Flame quiz. The show notes. You can, however, support this ongoing live Twin Flame news as such. Make it possible as co-creator. Without your participation and financial gifts, I cannot do anything, because we need to have an energetic and verbal visual exchange for things to make sense and to know what I need to talk for you about. And also, we are on Earth, and that necessarily always works with money as a means to make sacred content actually physically flow. Therefore, I post the show notes in Patreon. Come over and enjoy. Have influence on the broadcasts. Don't miss out on the behind the scenes experience. Patreon.com/PEJ at Creative Universe link below in the description box. This month, the Patreon subscriber action is the Divine Love reading for the old price of €99 instead of the new one of €177. Why don't you share this with a friend? If you've enjoyed it, they might too. I am Petra. In the consciousness state of Harmonious Twin Flame Union since March 2020, worked with the new Christ Masters on Earth right now to roll this consciousness state out so everyone can enjoy the abundant life with their true twin flame soon enough after going in with me right here. Don't search any further. You reached what you were looking for. Om. Amen.